Welcome back to a podcast about movies. This is a regular episode of a podcast about movies. This isn't me counting down my top 25 movies this time. It's me and my regular co-host Austin Pez. How's it going?
I know you're like betraying me, doing random shows in the middle of the day. It's very strange. Yeah, I only caught a little bit of that on the way to work before I had to shut my eyeballs so I could do this show. But yeah, no, I'm all right. A little tired, but I'll make it. But yeah, always happy to talk some movies with you, Jacob. So yeah, I'm excited to keep going on this anniversary series we've been getting to. We're into the '90s, man. When I grew
You
up,
are, yeah.
my prime.
I was
growing
alive then.
yeah, I was alive in the previous one, but just for a couple of years. But
Yeah.
yeah, this is like prime childhood stuff right here. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I was alive for most of the decade, except for the first 3 months.
Yeah.
Other than that, I was around for all of it.
You're around. There you go.
So, yeah, no, I'm excited for this one. Yeah, we're gonna jump into the '90s, so movies celebrating their 30th and 25th anniversaries, and I'm excited. I think we got a good mix of movies. One, I'll be honest, there was one I might need to rewatch again to see if
Okay.
see if I like it, but we'll get to it when we get there. It's definitely not what's up, Jordan? Hopefully the free for all prep is going.
He's got
smooth.
enough. He's got enough to get to do the show. Basically, right now it's like the extra ones just in case, essentially.
Right. Because you never know.
The overflow, the sudden death type stuff, the
Yeah.
tiebreakers, things like that. I know he's got over 100 as of right now, banked, ready to go. So that's a pretty good amount. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That sounds like a good.
I wish
dinner.
I had time to really cook, but I'll try. I might have some time in between this and rank 'em. We'll see.
Right, yeah, because we'll see, yeah, because we're only covering 4 movies like usual. Two from '93, two from '98, and I say we just start off nice and light.
Oh boy,
We'll start off nice and light. Of course, that means we're talking. We're back.
We're back. A Dinosaur Story,
which I definitely watched the right way and didn't watch through any other means at all.
No, I mailed my DVD to Jacob. He watched it like 2 weeks ago, and then he mailed it back to me.
That's what happened.
Mm-hmm.
So we're back. This is actually a movie I did watch as a kid. I know that, but I didn't really remember much of this movie. So I'm glad I did rewatch it. And did you say this was one that you watched as a kid as well, or is it?
I know I rented it a couple of times from Blockbuster. This one didn't come on on cable as much as some of the other animated movies I saw, because I used to see like Five Goes West a lot, from around this time on TV. Fern Gully used to come on a lot.
Yeah.
A couple of those early '90s ones were in rotation. This one I didn't see on as much, but I know I had one. And it had been a while before my rewatch, like about 2 months ago of this, where there was a very specific scene I had always remembered. It was like one of those kinder trauma sort of moments they talk about, There's a scene where there's like a serum that the bad guy can give them to like make them like carnivorous again, or like go primal again, like a scene. And they're like saying kind of like goodbye to the kid, and then they, before they get like injected and then get all scary again. I remembered that. I remember that like freaked me out as a kid, because I was like, oh no, like they're gonna be bad, like that's not good. And they're roaring and being like all mean again, and like and not friendly. And I remembered that scene specifically from this movie. So I'll say that I did have pretty vivid memories of that.
Yeah, I think the main one I remembered was the parade scene, because this movie was released around Thanksgiving. It was set around Thanksgiving as well, and so one of the scenes was the Macy's parade, and then I did see it. They were showing Jurassic Park at the movie theater.
I told you, bro. Their references right there. It's like all over the marquee at the movie theater. But I mean, it makes sense. Like Spielberg was like is a producer on this, so it's just there, But interesting though, it came out like around the same time. So when they were making this like a year before, he just banked on the fact that they might be out around the same time. That's Spielberg for you.
Yeah. Why not do a double feature
with no delay? So yeah.
Yeah. So Yeah, that was the one I remembered.
Hmm.
I didn't realize like the first 20 minutes or so of this movie was set up.
Yeah.
Like the birds are doing their thing, and then he comes down and, oh, well, let me tell you a life lesson, kiddo. And then it goes like then the next 15 minutes is like the setup of them actually coming to Earth, and I'm like, okay, so now you got like 40 minutes for you to tell your story.
Bro, I
It's
didn't
not a
remember there
long
was. I didn't
movie,
remember it involved like a time traveling scientist. I had no memory of that. I
right?
just thought like
Circus, yeah.
they were just like talking dinosaurs or whatever, like Land Before Time, and it's like he feeds them like food and it makes them smart, or something. Like I forgot all that stuff. That was the stuff I had no memory of coming back to. It was that aspect.
Yeah. So, um, other than that, like there's not much to it. It's 70 minutes, but of course, 5 minutes of that is credits, so they're just pushing like that
I mean,
65
yeah,
minute mark.
you know what? I'm not opposed to it. Yeah, nice
Yeah,
breezy
no,
70 minutes. Hey, I like it.
yeah,
I'm
it's
with it.
it's a fun movie. I think there's some
Yeah.
some fun moments. I think, yeah, the parade scene with the song
Mhm.
is fun.
That's kind of
But
the centerpiece of the movie is that parade scene, like the
yeah,
big one. You could tell they kind of banked everything
yeah,
on for the trailers and stuff, like
which
parade.
I I looked this up later after I'd watched it.
Mhm.
I just looking up some things about the movie.
Mhm.
Apparently, during the actual parade itself, the dinosaur head, because they were marketing this movie during
Yeah.
the parade. Um, the head, because in the movie, the dinosaur, the T Rex played by John Goodman,
Mhm.
um, accidentally pops a dinosaur balloon.
Right.
Or no, and in the actual parade, the dinosaur of the balloon of Rex, his
Yeah.
head accidentally gets popped, and so
Oh.
they're going through the parade with the head deflated. And I just thought it was
Yeah.
funny how that happened. Unless it was made to look like an accident, but really it was a marketing
Yeah,
ploy.
marketing. Yeah. Hey, by the way, go watch We're Back a Dinosaur Story in theaters right now. Yeah,
Yeah,
it could have been. Who knows?
but yeah, I thought that was interesting. Decent voice cast. I thought Martin Short was a lot of fun
It's the
during
clown
his time as
guy.
a clown. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, but yeah, no, I mean, this is one I feel like if you want to show it to your kids, go for it.
Nothing
I
wrong
think
with
kids will
that.
enjoy it. But
Yeah.
yeah, other than that, I think it's a fine '90s animated movie.
It's not, Pebble and the Penguin. You know what I
It's
mean?
not.
Like it's better. It's better than that. It's better than some of the Don Bluth like garbage that was like in the middle of the '90s. No, is it up to the
Pebble and the
standard
Penguin
of?
makes this look like the Lion King.
Yeah, well, that's what I mean. Like, it's not up to the standard of like those early '90s like Disney movies. Like, it's not even close. Like,
No.
it's to Lion King, Aladdin, Beauty and the Beast, all that. Like, of course, it's not on the same level, but it might be on the same level as like a Fern Gully. Like, maybe I think you could put it in that
Yeah.
same kind of
Yeah.
category. You put this on, for kids, a double feature of this and that or something. You're fine. Yeah, it's got some decent sequences. I like the runtime, especially for kids. 70 minutes, you're in, you're
Right.
out.
Yep.
Very, very quick. It's goofy enough for the kids. There's enough like of the voice casting for people to be like, that's really sounds like Jay Leno. Is that Jay Leno? Like for adults, and be like, what is that? Rhea Perlman. Like what's going on with this? Yeah, John Goodman was doing a lot of kid stuff around this time, this and like
This
the
was the same year as the
Flintstones.
Flintstones, right?
It's like the year before the Flintstones, but he was
Okay.
doing that. Yeah, he did a couple of things because later on in the '90s he'd do like the Borrowers. He was doing a lot of kids stuff around this time. I think he had just had kids or something, so it makes sense. A
Mm.
lot of these guys do those movies once they have kids, so their
Then a
kids
few
have
years later,
something to
he's
watch
like, "Let
with
me do
dad.
the Big Lebowski."
Yeah, and now the kids are like past the age of 5. I'll tell shut the fuck up, Donnie, every 9 seconds. No, it's fine. But yeah, it's all right. There's not a whole lot to talk about here. It's decent, but
Yeah.
we could have picked something significant. But sometimes you want to pick just a breezy one that you're like, hey, does this one hold up a little bit or not? I don't know. We'll check it out.
Yeah.
See if
Yeah.
it does.
The fond memories I had of this one um, held up a lot more than the ones I did of A Troll in Central Park or The Pebble
Yeah.
and the Penguin. So
Yeah. It's better than that. I would for sure take this movie over those. Yeah, easily.
Yeah, which it's got 38% on Rotten Tomatoes, and I'm like, what do people not like about this movie? It's a harmless 70 minutes
I
kid
don't know if it was
movie.
that. I vaguely remember Roger Ebert just being like, "It's fine, but like we just got Aladdin and we're getting the Lion King." You know what I mean?
That's
And
true. That's the
being like,
thing.
we're actually getting kids, movies that are a high standard. You know what I mean? Kind of
That
like when
is
the
true.
Pixar stuff
Yeah,
started rolling. When you have this in the theaters around the same time, it's like you get something like this, and you just go, "Yeah,
that's
sure, it's
true.
fine for
That's
kids,"
true.
but like these other ones, adults are getting enjoyment out of it. Kids are getting enjoyment. They're well written. They're well animated and all that. And I think it's more of a case of everything that was coming out around it more than
That's
this
a good
of
point.
it being a movie.
Yeah,
So, you know, I remember him being high on that, always being like, we've seen, because he would give praise to the family films that did do stuff well, especially stuff later, once these Pixar movies started coming out too, Toy Story and all that, of just really harping on, you see, we have examples. You can make really high quality family entertainment. So when we get stuff like the Pimple and the Penguin, he's just like, why? Like you're just making yourself look bad in comparison, and trying to do that. So it's more of a case of everything else was coming out.
that's a good point.
Yeah.
Um, yep. So yeah, and it was a box office dud too. It made like 9.3 million at the box office, which
Well,
not
I'd
not
have to see again what was like coming out around the same time, were there other
yeah,
things going on?
November of '93.
Yeah, I mean, I could even like look it up real quick while we're talking, but November 1993 box office or something. I'm sure there was that's holiday season, so there's a lot of movies coming out, and I mean, Nightmare Before Christmas is around the same time. Adam's Family Values, Mrs. Doubtfire. There's the Three Musketeers, the Disney movie. Cool Runnings was still hopping. Like
Yeah, it's
I mean,
understandable.
yeah, there's other stuff. Jurassic Park was still in theaters. I mean, opening weekend, we're back. Jurassic Park still beat it on like its 10th weekend. You know what I mean? So yeah, Jurassic Park was still killing it.
Let's go
At
see
the
the
box
other
office.
dinosaur movie.
Yeah, I mean, so there was a lot just out there. So I don't think it was just more of a stacked box office. Around this
Dude,
multiplexes,
'93
Jacob,
was
were
a good
really
year.
multiplexes were really starting to come into their own, like late 80s, early 90s too. The movies at the mall, things like these places that were showing, had 10 theaters, and there was just a lot more options. So if something comes out like this and it doesn't really stand out like those Disney movies or Pixar movies, it's just gonna get lost in the shuffle, especially around the holidays. That's just a symptom of that. So
Yeah.
yeah.
So, but yeah, that's we're back.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm glad we chose it because it was fun to rewatch. A nice 70-minute kids movie from my childhood. So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, a movie that wasn't a box office bomb.
No, 183 million worldwide. Because I just clicked on it because it was right under We're Back 2 weeks in the two slots under it or whatever for 1993. Still in theaters from the summer, but
Yeah,
yeah, is
yeah. It's
the
I
Fugitive.
think overall, once it was done, it was because I'm on the Wikipedia. It's got 368.9 million off a $44 million budget. So,
Yeah, I'd
uh,
say that's it.
yeah, yeah. So, but that I'm on the wrong. Sorry, Malcolm said We're Back was released on the same day as Mrs. Doubtfire.
Yeah, and that
Yeah.
one, it's Robin Williams was hot around that time,
Oh
coming off
yeah.
Aladdin. He was literally coming right off Aladdin the year before. Yeah, he's hot at the box office and everything.
Probably
So
it probably
yeah.
made that much in like its first two
Oh,
two
easily.
days,
Oh yeah,
maybe even the
easily.
first day.
Yeah.
So, but the one that we're referring to now is The Fugitive, and these next three are all going to be first time watches for me.
Ah, cool.
So, I know you're a big fan of The Fugitive. Did you say this one was in your 128 or
I
was it
think it
lower?
is, but it's like more like near the bottom of the 128. I know for somebody, I know Steven Shepard's a bigger fan of this movie even than I am. But yeah, I've always really enjoyed this one. I like U.S. Marshals as well, which also came out in '98. Ironically enough,
Oh,
the
nice.
other year we'll be talking about the spinoff. But I think this one's solid too. But yeah, The Fugitive. It's one of those things where it's not a slam bang, action thriller. There are action set pieces and good chases and things like that, but it's more of this just thriller with Harrison Ford running around. But I just think it's a really smartly made movie. I don't care, Malcolm. Uh,
I understand that reference now.
yeah, right. So, I just think it's one of these thrillers that would be kind of throwaway or forgettable if not for, I think the direction is really good from Andrew Davis, who did Under Siege right before this, which is Steven Seagal's best movie overall, just well directed. And yeah, I think the cast in their roles really just kill it in this movie. Like I think Harrison Ford is excellent. Of course, Tommy Lee Jones famously won the Oscar for this movie.
Yeah, I saw that over Ray Fiennes.
Over Ray Fiennes, which I think we talked about those Oscars. If we had maybe had a say in it, yeah, I might have still given it to Ray Fiennes over Tommy Lee
But I
Jones.
get it.
I get it, but Ray
But
Fiennes
still,
is
it's
just
like
so good in that movie. It's like I don't know, man. And well, just knowing also in hindsight that Ray Fiennes still has not won an Oscar to this day is
right.
it's like yeah, maybe he should have won for Eamon Koth and Schindler's List. But Tommy Lee Jones is very good. I mean, he's perfectly cast in this thing. He's got a tremendous sense of energy and charisma every time he's on screen. Just he's so good at just barking out orders anytime he's just directing traffic. It's pretty great. And yeah, he's surrounded with all these wonderful character actors in his sort of entourage. People that are just so much fun to watch every time they're investigating everything.
Joey Pants is back.
Joey Pants, man, yeah, and yeah, there's other people like all these other like Chicago, character actors kind of sprinkled in throughout there. The guys who were interrogating Harrison Ford at the beginning of the movie, I forget their names, but like they're in a million movies. Like these Chicago guys, it's like Daniel Roebuck and like all these dudes, like these two guys who show up and everything. But yeah, all kinds of people you'd recognize. But yeah, it's just a really smart movie. We don't waste a whole lot of time. We get right into it at the beginning.
I like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's like we get the little bit of choppy montage, but intentionally so of like what's going on. Something happened, and he's on trial for killing his wife. Like 10 minutes later, and we're into it. 10 minutes later than that, the bus is crashing on the train tracks, and we're getting a big set piece. And then we're kind of off to the races, and it's kind of constant sense of tension after that. But yeah, I want to hear your thoughts, man, because yeah, you watched this for the first time.
I did, yeah. I actually watched it this morning.
Nice.
So it's fresh in my mind. Unfortunately, I did have to watch it through Pluto, so there were a few ad breaks, but it wasn't as bad because it wasn't through like the app itself. It was through my Xfinity, so maybe it was the commercial breaks were a little.
If you watch it straight up on the app, dude, they show ads like every 7 minutes. It's infuriating.
Yeah,
it's horrible.
It was like 20 minutes between.
Okay, that's not bad. That's more like Tubi. That's more like Tubi.
Yeah.
That's not that
yeah,
bad.
So
Okay.
it wasn't too bad. But no, I really enjoyed this. This is probably my favorite of the three that I watched for the first time.
Nice.
I thought Harrison Ford was really good as Richard Kimball. And Tommy Lee Jones. I thought, yeah, when they were on screen together too, like I thought the pairing of them, like I don't know if they've done anything else together, but like if they have, I need to go seek it out because I thought they were really good. I thought the story it did enough to like keep me invested because I felt like not only was it about Harrison Ford trying to just survive, and it's also about him trying to clear his name. Like I did not kill my wife.
Right.
I know Tommy Lee Jones doesn't care. But yeah, and then yeah, it's not like in your face action, but when there are like moments of action, I think they're really well done. And I think they're spaced out enough in the movies in the movie that like when it comes around, like you're ready for it.
It's more clever action because like it's not like shootouts and explosions. It's like it's tension of like they're getting close and like I got to figure out what to do here. Like in the tunnel sequence in the dam, that everybody talks about with the I don't care thing. It's like they're in this tunnel and they figure out that he kind of slid under like the sewer grate, and they're down there running around and he takes the dive off the dam, and they think everybody's like, no, he's dead. There's no way he can, survive that. He's not. But even the simple, it's a very simple sequence, but Yeah, I mean, we crashed on a train track, and here comes the train. It's very simple tension, but it works because it's just filmed so well, and
Yeah.
it's that classic like I got to get out before this damn train hits me. Like it's very simple stuff, but it's just hey, it's as much tension as when you see real life videos of people that get stuck on a train track, and here comes the train. You're
Yeah.
just like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, here it comes, and before it hits, it's great.
But I'll never understand though why in movies, and this is just like a little pet peeve of mine in movies. If something is coming at you this way,
Yeah,
why would you continue to run this way
yeah,
and
right.
not just take 3 steps this way?
Well, the best example of that is freaking Prometheus at the end when the thing is like rolling about to fall on her and she just doesn't bolt the other way.
Yeah,
It's like very simple. It's very weird.
so I was like, come on, Harrison Ford, just go this way. But it's just a minor. Like I just look for those things now, and it's
Yeah,
just
yeah,
more
yeah.
funny to me than anything. It doesn't really take away from the movie, but yeah, no, I like so yeah, I liked Harrison Ford. I liked how he kept changing his appearance to try to hide in plain sight.
Hmm.
Um, and there was a moment where I was like, yeah, like they really showed the human side because he's, when he's the posing as the janitor at
Yeah,
the
the X-rays.
hospital, the X-rays, and it's
Mhm.
like you kind of, you're kind of gonna blow your cover because janitors aren't supposed to be, looking at X-rays
Right.
and taking people to surgery, even though like what you're doing.
At the same time, Julianne Moore, like, she asked him to push him to surgery. It's like, I don't think that's his job, but that's stupid of you. Like, shouldn't
Yeah,
that
like
nurse
I don't
be
know if
doing
that
that?
actually happens. If
Yeah, can we
like
just
that, I
because
don't
we're
know.
busy just give that to the janitorial guy to take him down to a certain area? I mean, I guess, but I don't know what protocol that is.
He did have an ID badge, so I guess
Sure.
it's not like School of Rock where Jack Black just went to school and said, "Yeah, I'm a teacher."
And
So
we don't file paperwork, we don't check IDs, we have to cut you a check to a random name, sure. Yeah.
yeah, I am Dewey Finn, but I need you to make the checks out. Oh, no, I'm Mr. Sneebly, but I need you to make the checks out to
Dewey
Dewey
Finn
today.
for tax purposes.
No, that's not
That's not
suspicious
shady
at
at
all.
all. Yeah,
No,
right.
but no, back to the Fugitive. Yeah, no, I'm really excited to check out U.S. Marshals if it's the sequel because I really enjoyed this one. The ending I didn't see that coming. I thought the guy helping him was genuinely helping him, and then turns
Yeah.
out, hey, he's the bad guy.
Well, because
Great.
Jacob, you forgot the important rule. It's always the rich white man. you
But
know,
it's
it's
always
always
rich.
the rich white follow, as they say in Rush Hour 2, follow the rich white man. That's always the key to everything. There's always a rich white man looking to get his cut.
Yeah, yeah. So I'm glad you recommended this one
Yeah.
for 93. I'm
I,
glad.
I will say I like U.S. Marshals. It's not quite as tight as the Fugitive, but I think it's still fun. Because you still have Tommy Lee Jones and his crew, like his whole crew, and it's somebody else. Another movie that old Wesley Snipes did in 1998, and it's still prime Wesley Snipes. He's a lot of fun, doing his thing, and it's very similar. But instead of this time of being a doctor, Wesley Snipes is actually like a former sort of special forces kind of guy, so he's able to, do some more physical things, to get away and things like that. But yeah, I still defend it. I think it's a pretty solid spinoff. It just wasn't nominated for Oscars and whatnot, like The Fugitive was,
Yeah.
which is still weird to think like, oh, what was nominated for Best Picture? The Fugitive, like
I was
that's
about to say this was a Best Picture nominee.
Best Picture nominee. Yeah,
Yeah,
very very strange to think about, but it was. They used to nominate stuff like this
it was.
for Best
Was
Picture.
this
Yeah,
Schindler's List, which obviously won,
right.
and then was Philadelphia nominated?
I think so.
'Cause
Yeah,
I know Tom Hanks
Philadelphia.
won the Oscar over.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was nominated for picture as well. Yeah, I mean, there was, yeah, it was in there. It was
Yeah, 93 was a good year for movies.
so was 94. So there was a couple of
93,
good years in a
94,
row.
yeah. I'm very curious when next year comes what we choose for for 94.
There's a lot of options. There's a lot of options for 94, man. It's a stacked year, so we'll have to be very picky and
Right.
maybe just
We
pick
might
stuff.
we
We'll
might just
have
do a
to do
show
it next. we'll have to do a mix of stuff you haven't seen and stuff I haven't seen. Like we'll have to do a mix, like we kind of been doing. But yeah, it's gonna be tricky.
We might just do a. We can talk about it, obviously, but maybe we'll just do an episode entirely dedicated to '94 because that does.
We could, yeah.
Good year, but that's a year away.
Well, we could do a whole nother episode of '99 as well for the other anniversary because that was a
that's
stacked year in movies as
Yeah.
well. So we could do two separate 30th and 25th for '94 and '99, like two separate whole episodes. And I think you could pick 4 from each one, and so let's cover everything. Yeah.
So, yeah, The Fugitive, Harrison Ford, Tommy Lee Jones, fantastic performances. Yeah, clever action, like you said,
and a random sighting from Jane Lynch in the middle of the movie.
Oh yeah. I was like, oh, Jane Lynch. Yeah. Oh, I was trying to figure out. Oh, Julianne Moore, who was like those. I think I looked it up, and it was like her 6th movie.
Yeah, no, this was even before like Lost World and some of her mid-90s stuff. Yeah, it was. I mean, it was very early. Yeah, very very early Jane Lynch. I mean, like 10 years plus, even before like 40-Year-Old Virgin. So I mean, this is like really early Jane Lynch. Yeah, fun little people popping up throughout the movie. Yeah, I like it.
So, Fugitive. I gave it because I rated everything on Letterboxd after a watch. I gave it I think I gave it a 4.5 out of 5.
Nice.
I thought it was really really good. So we'll move on. We'll move on to '98, and I think we'll start with this one because I think we'll end with one that you're super high on, and that now I'm pretty high on it as well after the first one. But this one, I'm a little unsure. Yeah,
Very true. Can I be honest with you? I might be as well after this rewatch.
Yeah, because
it didn't work as well for me on the rewatch. It's been a minute since I sat down and watched Blade all the way through. I think my memories of this movie exceeded the actual movie. I'll say this about
nothing but good things about it.
Well, I'll say this about Blade. It suffers from one particular thing, Jacob. It suffers from awesome opening scene syndrome. Where in movies where you have an amazing opening scene, like a kick-ass, awesome opening sequence that the rest of the movie cannot live up to, where we thought we put everything we had in this opening scene and making it like one of the coolest things ever, and then the rest there's not a single scene in the rest of the movie that's as good as that. It does have that syndrome, and I don't know if you agree with me. I think the opening scene is incredible, but
I'll be honest. I thought the opening scene. I wasn't feeling the opening scene until Blade was introduced.
Right.
And everything that follows that, like that's
why it's the build up. It's like, what the hell is going on? It's just two random people going to this club, and but the music is fun, you know, doom, 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 and then the sprinklers come on, it's blood. You go, oh shit, it's a vampire club, and then like the Red Sea, it just parts, and there's Blade in all of Wesley Snipes' badass glory, in his body armor and his leather jacket, with his sword, with his shotgun, you know, with his silver stakes, and he just like in his sunglasses, and it's just like it's time to whoop some ass. And that scene is so great. That scene is awesome. But that's the problem, though. Also with the movie, that scene is so awesome, and then like. The rest of the movie's watchable. It's good. I'm not gonna say it's bad. I think it's good. It's got moments, but man, like I think everybody has rose-colored glasses from that opening scene, you know, because the rest of the movie is like it's pretty solid. I'll say this: a lot of people prefer Blade 2 over Blade, so that may be.
I'm gonna watch Blade 2 because I watched Blade last night.
I think people like the story of Blade 2 more because Blade 2 is a more interesting story, and I know we're kind of skipping over Blade. I'm just briefly, but Blade 2, it's Guillermo del Toro, and I think the story of Blade 2 is a little more interesting because he has to actually team up with this group of vampires to fight like these other monsters, you know, like super vampire monsters. And one of them is like Ron Perlman. So like Ron Perlman's in there is like one of the, you know, other vampire guys. Norman Reedus is in there as like a tech guy. Nice. Yeah, it's got a bunch of like fun character artists that pop up in that, and it's just more of like it keeps you a little more tension because he's got to team up with these vampires, which he doesn't want to do, but they could turn on him at any time, you know. It's got that aspect to it, so it's a little more tension filled, and I know a lot of people prefer that one to this one, so that may be a thing, or maybe like Blade 2 more possibly.
So. Maybe because that opening scene, like I liked all the like when the action scenes were happening. Right. I thought they were great. I thought when
Blade is whipping ass and Wesley Snipes is badass mode and he's whooping vampire ass, it's awesome.
Yeah, it's fantastic. But like the story in between all that, it's like okay. I thought oh, what's his name? Donald Logue was
Yeah.
very cheesy and campy in this movie. And I'm not sure if that was the point,
I
but
think it's just him. Yeah, he's going to be the sidekick that's
yeah,
constantly laughing like a weasel and just being a goof, and getting his hand chopped off over and over again, and yeah, growing it back. Yeah, it's like Stephen Dorff. Everybody talks about him as Deacon Frost, but like, I think he's fine. Like
it's fine.
he's all right. He's the younger vampire that wants to overthrow the system or whatever of like this council of vampires or whatever, and really actually take over the world instead of being in the shadows. Which it's a fairly cliche plot. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, the
Mhm.
younger guy that wants to kind of break the system or whatever. That's fine. Yeah, I think I forget who plays her, but the girl that is kind of gets stuck with Blade that they cure, through the movie. I think
Yeah, I
she's
can't remember the
fine.
name of it.
I'm like, her stories, I could have done without her, to be honest with you.
I think if
It's
she whoever played her and Sine Lathan
if they
did the
switched,
role,
yeah, because Sanaa Lathan is a much, much more interesting actress, and she has a lot more
yeah,
charisma. And yeah, I know her from Alien versus Predator, which is not the greatest movie, but she's all right in
I
it.
know her from Love and Basketball.
There you go. Yeah, we know very different movies. But yeah, no, I because she's just got so much more energy to her, especially when she shows up later,
Yeah,
like full on. It's a more interesting story. I think it'd just be a more interesting story if he found out like his mom was alive and like is somewhere out there. Maybe he's like trying
yeah.
to infiltrate all these vampire things to try to find her or something. Like I'd be
Why
okay
wait
with
till a half hour is left in the movie to introduce
introduce that
it?
she's still around. Yeah,
Yeah, that would
just
have been much better, I think.
Whistler finds her or something, or sees us, or gets some intel or whatever, and he has to, but he's got to figure it out, go place to place. She's a property of somebody, so maybe he's
Yeah,
got to find, go, interrogate different those leader guys that they talk about, the guys who have their own little minion of people, go from one to the other, and like a video game, go on the side quests and find it. Yeah,
yeah,
that'd be fine. Because that's what he does. He's the action guy. Whistler's the guy in the chair. Like literally, he's the tech guy in the chair and yeah, I think that would have been fine. They really just have her so she can introduce like the exploding head serum like later, as a doctor.
yeah.
That's really the only reason she's kind of there, as like a plot convenience. But yeah, I mean, I don't think it's bad. For a 90s comic book movie, which that was a rough period for comic book movies, Jacob, was the 90s. This
Oh,
is
I
certainly
could tell by the CGI.
yeah, exactly. That had mid 90s CGI. You gotta love it. A little rough, but I mean, for a 90s comic book movie, it's one of the better ones. It's in the top
Yeah,
half of that. Because if you compare everything else that came out in the 90s, Spawn and Steel, and a couple of these movies that are not so up
the
to
lesser
snuff.
Batman movies.
Batman and Robin. Yeah, it's like around when you compare it to the stuff that was coming out at the same time. This one is definitely head and shoulders above that as far as
Yeah,
quality.
yeah. It's like
Um,
this and Batman Returns. I think are
but
for
yeah,
me
this
personally.
this series has never been one of my favorite like franchises for comics. But I still think it's good, and I still think it's interesting, and I still like that. I mean, it's still Wesley Snipes kicking vampire ass, so it's still good, very watchable. Um, but yeah, it's like. I, Okay, I got a side rant about that. Okay, so about this MCU Blade, which I still don't think will ever actually happen because it's been delayed so many damn times. It was supposed to come out like 3 years ago. Um, I don't like the fact that we're starting out this new Blade casting with Mahershala Ali, who's a very fine actor, but he's like 50 years old. Blade was Wesley Snipes was 36 when he made this first movie, and he's an accomplished martial artist. He's still an amazing. He's yoked in this movie. He's still super crazy shape. And he's younger than me in this movie, which is hard to believe when he filmed this. And I don't know. I don't think you start like a new character for this franchise at 50, which is why I also have always been against. Like, I have nothing against Idris Elba, but you can't start a James Bond franchise at 50. You just
No,
can't. You gotta cast somebody younger, and it's just a problem with that. So I don't know what they're thinking with that. Why they're not casting somebody younger, a little more physically active. So yeah, I just think it's gonna get watered down, man. These movies are hard R. There's blood everywhere. They're cutting people's heads off. He's dropping f bombs. Like it's and the MCU is just going to be PG-13. They're going to go up in smoke, no blood, no nothing, and I'm worried about that, man. I'm not exactly looking forward to it, honestly. I'd rather watch any of these movies at the
yeah,
moment.
yeah. Yeah, I do think. Yeah, I did like this one was rated R and like it didn't
Mhm.
shy away from utilizing that R rating.
Yeah.
I did like it in that respect, but yeah, um, probably not one I'm gonna go back to very often. If I'm gonna go back to a comic book, if I want to go back to like a rated R comic book movie, I'll go back to like Deadpool or something like
Sure.
that.
Like I said, you might like
But
Blade 2 more. I think
yeah,
the
I
story.
will watch that one.
I think the story of Blade 2, I would at least finish the trilogy if you have
Yeah,
it. You have the set, right? And then, hey, Blade Trinity, it's not great, but I'll say this: you might like it because Ryan Reynolds is in Blade Trinity, basically playing Deadpool. He's got swords. He's fighting vampires. Jessica Biel is in there, also as like kind of a vampire killer. Patton Oswalt shows up as like the tech guy, and yeah, and it's Triple H's big feature debut.
that's right. Yeah,
And he has a fight scene with Ryan Reynolds and he power slams him. I swear to God, that's real.
I
So
want him to hit a pedigree in a movie just once.
no, he hits a running power slam though, so it's not bad. He does hit wrestling moves to him. So and he's the kind of the main henchman guy. So I mean, it's worth seeing for that. It's just famously Blade Trinity is the one where Wesley Snipes didn't care. He hated the director and like he
Mm-hmm.
had scenes where he wouldn't like open his eyes for like scenes where he was supposed to open his eyes. They had to CGI his eyes. Yeah, and he was just a pain in the ass on set. But it's still interesting. But yeah, you might like Blade 2 more, and Blade Trinity's at least has its moments because of Ryan Reynolds and Jessica Biel are fun additions to it. So you might like some of those other ones. I don't know. Like give it a shot.
Yeah.
See what happens.
Yeah, for sure. So, all right. The other movie we chose from 1998. It's a movie you're pretty high on, and
Yeah.
I can understand why. It's The Faculty.
Yay.
So what is it about The Faculty? Because I know you love like these body snatcher type movies.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
I
What is
think
it
that's
about the
no,
Faculty?
that's what exactly what it is because you know how high I am on that 78 body snatchers. I mean, we've talked about it on this
Which
show.
they reference in the movie.
Of course, well, that's the thing is to me, and it's written because it's written by Kevin Williamson. Yeah, it's Robert Rodriguez who's coming off of Desperado and From Dusk Till Dawn, two other awesome movies in the '90s. Like he was on a roll right here. But because it's Kevin Williamson, it feels like a post Scream meta version of Body Snatchers, which is why I like it. Because I like this more than Scream. I'll just come out and say it. Like I like the Scream movies enough. But if I had to pick between two, I pick The Faculty, and because it's smart. It's aware of what it is. Like you said, they actually reference the Body Snatchers original story in this thing. They figure it out fairly quickly, like what's going on. And like these characters like are not stupid. Like they figure it out. They know something's up. They don't know exactly what it is, but they know something's wrong. They know people are acting weird. The faculty's acting odd. The parents are acting odd. They know something's wrong. And you got characters like Elijah Wood and you got Zeke. Josh Hartnett, who's awesome by the way. This is like
He's really good.
second movie. He's so good in this movie. I just like that everybody you see that pops up in this movie is somebody you know now throughout this movie. Oh my god, is this cast like loaded with people you recognize? I mean, you could run it down, but it's Elijah Wood, it's Josh Hartnett, it's what's it, Jordana Brewster from the Fast and Furious movies. You got Salma Hayek is in there. Robert Patrick, the T-1000. BB Newirth, who I just saw rewatching Jumanji. She's actually the aunt in that movie that's hanging around with Kirsten Dunst. You've got Piper Laurie, who's the crazy mom in Carrie, is like the other faculty member. You got a couple people from Seinfeld in here. There's oh my god, like Usher.
Christopher McDonald. I don't know if you mentioned
Christopher McDonald, Shooter McGavin is Elijah Wood's dad in the movie. Yeah, it's oh my, yeah, Sean Hatosi, who's been recognizable, been a lot of Clea Duvall, who's very recognizable. She's in Argo and a bunch of other stuff. I mean, the list goes on and on. Everybody, Famke Jensen, my God, Jean Grey, 2 years before X-Men, is one of the teachers. But yeah, it's loaded with people. Again, I think it's a smart script, with smart characters. It has a good it takes its time to get to know all these characters before it really amps up, but still keeps you on the edge of your seat with the body snatchers aspect. I think we still get to hang around a lot in the school with these people and see the slow progression, kind of get what's going on. we get to know guys like Zeke who figures it out with his drugs, how we can beat him. But they also recognize that if we don't stop it right now, we're screwed, much like in Body Snatchers, because you can't just run. We got to figure this thing out now. But yeah, I just found it very, very rewatchable. Just very well directed. It flies by. It's an hour and 44 minutes. It doesn't overstay its welcome. It's just long enough, to get everything done, but not too long to where you get bored. It's very flashy. It has a lot of practical effects, which again I still appreciate. There is some CG here with like tentacles and things like that. But like that monster at the end is all real. Like they made that giant one that she turns into at the end, like is great. Some of the slugs and stuff are real. There's a lot of good practical stuff in here as well. And I just think it's just got an energy to it that I really dig, and I just I find myself going back to a lot over and over again, almost as much as like I said, if I made a top 10 or a top 15 horror movies, not only with that 78 Body Snatchers one in there, but this one's in there as well. I find this movie incredibly watchable, like just breezy and entertaining. So I just dig it.
Yeah, I dug it too. I think this is one I might even revisit it come horror season, because I really enjoyed it. I liked the beginning where we kind of met all these characters, and like you said, we really got to get to know them and like who each person was. And I kept trying to figure out like Sean, like the Sean Hatoshi character. Like I know him from something, and I'm like looking through his filmography, and it was Alpha Dog. He plays like Elvis in Alpha Dog. Like that's the one, because I was like, who is he? It's funny though how he's like the jock in this one, and then in Alpha Dog he's kind of the guy who gets pushed around and like.
Well, I like that they also break the cliches. He's the jock, but he wants to like get smarter. Like,
yeah, I loved that.
Yeah, you have the
and it made sense later on in the story too, because it was like people are acting weird, and it's like, oh well, now you don't want to be the star of the football team. Like that's a little weird. Like,
yeah, what's up with you? Yeah, you crazy? And it's like, yeah, Clea Duvall, they think she's like a lesbian because she kind of looks like an alternative lifestyle person, but she's like, no, I'm straight. I just use that as a cover because I don't like people. I'm not a people person. Most people are stupid and I don't like them. And yeah, Elijah Wood's kind of the nerd, but he's not really like a super nerd. He's just, again, he's just a smart dude who just doesn't like people that much, which is fine. Yeah, Zeke, you think he's like a drug guy, but no, he's a super smart dude who doesn't even do his own stuff. He just sells that as a side hustle. Yeah. And he's actually very, very smart, and he could pass, but he keeps failing because he just doesn't want to let go of high school because this is where he kind of belongs. But he's actually a very intelligent character. Yeah, I mean, it breaks the cliches of what you think they're going to be, and it's not. It's a complete subversion of everything in the best way.
I loved that decision in the movie. Like you said, I thought it moved at a good pace. Like we got to where they were finally like coming up with a plan, and I like just hit my remote. I was like, oh, and it was like an hour and almost like 15 minutes into it. Like, oh, okay, so now we're really gonna get going. But it doesn't feel like they rushed the ending either, even though there was like 30 minutes left or whatever.
Well, it's not like world-ending stakes. I mean, there are, but they're not like fighting outside. Like it still takes place in and around the school, but there's still the stakes of we got to do something soon because obviously you have the football scene where it goes to the other school, so it's outside the school now. So like we got to solve this situation before. And Elijah Wood even says it. What would you do if you were an alien species? Would you come barreling in Independence Day style, or would you sneak in the back door? It's a great movie reference, and it's a great line of them like sneaking in and just slowly, you would infiltrate this small town and then just slowly spread it like a virus. Like it makes total sense what you would do. And yeah, they figure out, like, luckily it's not like Body Snatchers where this one actually has like a queen that if you kill it kind of spreads out. Body Snatchers is a whole other situation because those movies are just like, no, the aliens won. F you. Like we just won. So there is no happy ending. Once they're in, and there's no way to stop them once they're gone. Yeah. But this one there actually is. I mean, it has like almost that Scream like mystery aspect as to like who is the kind of.
And I thought it was the football coach the whole time.
Hey, well, that's what they thought the whole time. They thought it was. Well, I mean, it is Robert Patrick, who from like most people, it's like, oh, it's a T-1000. Of course, he's the evil, like, leader or whatever. I mean, he is sort of a big, like, presence in the movie to where you think because he's already an asshole before the movie starts. So you're just like, yeah. But I mean, that opening scene, I mean, he's creepy enough as like kind of the stalker, feels like a serial killer movie at the beginning, when he's stalking BB Newirth in the school. But yeah, I like that. That's a total Kevin Williamson thing. There's like a mystery aspect to it as well. It's like who's behind it, what's actually going on, who done it, if you will. And yeah, it turns out to be the new girl, because of course it was the new girl who just happened to show up around the around the time it
Should have
started.
saw it coming.
Yeah, exactly. It's right there, right in front of everybody. She's the new girl who just showed up. Of course, it's her.
Like all of a sudden, there's aliens.
Yeah, but there's the nice, clever stuff where like she didn't actually take the drug, and there's the little subversion stuff that keeps throwing you off. That's a total Williamson thing. So, yeah, it's just a ton of fun, man. I dig
It was a lot of fun, especially I loved when Elijah Wood took the drug and he was tweaking. Like I thought that the sequence was kind of fun. I think there's moments of humor peppered in every now and then that really work. Yeah, it's crazy looking back, like how stacked this cast is.
Stacked.
So yeah, no, I really enjoyed this. Lot more than Blade. But
there you
so
go. At least you got one.
Yeah, at least we got one. The fact that which I might now just like put into my horror rotation come every October. Like this might be a new staple because I really enjoyed it. I kind of want to get into more of these body snatcher type movies.
I'm telling you, man, like there's a reason why one of my favorite subgenres, and really it might be because of my two favorite ones. My favorite subgenre is paranoia horror, man, because like people not trusting each other and not knowing who's who is one of the scariest aspects I could think of, more so than just a straight up monster or a killer or something that you can kind of face, and deal with. Is not knowing who's who and who to trust, man. It's really scary, including your family. I mean, like, there's those little things. It's really weird to me. We never see Christopher McDonald again after they turn. I always thought there was going to be like a quick, scene with them, doing something, but they don't overly show it. But it's like, the coach goes over to his car after he drops him off, and like you're just like, oh shit, well he can't go home again. You know that. Like the movie doesn't treat you like you're a dummy. Like what just happened, like it's over for that, so you can't go home. But it doesn't treat you like you're an idiot. I mean, it treats you like you can pick it up and figure out who's who, and it still keeps you even on the mystery aspect of like Jordana Brewster already being turned, and her kind of revealing herself.
Yeah, that was another one. I was like, oh, okay.
Well, and it's a clear homage. That drug scene is a clear homage to the thing with the blood test scene. It's a clear like homage to that. They're not making any bones about it. Like here, we got to lock it down right here. I need to know who's who right now. That's exactly what the thing, when he does the blood test, like that's exactly what that is. But they don't make any bones about it. Like they're flat out telling you that essentially. It's a clear, reference to that. But yeah, it's just super entertaining, man. And I still don't know. I think this movie's finally kind of coming around for people giving it respect, like for being a really good like 90s horror movie. I think it took a while though. I see this on cable all the time and I loved it. And I was like, why are more people not talking about the faculty? The faculty's great. In the same vein as like Scream and stuff, but I dig it. Like it should get some respect.
Yeah. Another scene I just wanted to mention real quick.
Yeah, please.
Was the scene where they where Zeke overhears them and then goes in the classroom, and then Jon Stewart comes in, and like that sequence that follows where they're kind of struggling and fighting each other, and with the cuts off his fingers and they start scampering. It's like,
it's great.
Oh, okay, so now you guys know Elijah Wood is not crazy.
Yeah,
and then breaking off the paper cutter and using that as a weapon, the sticking in the eye, and this. Dude, some good effects there. It's great. Like that might be my favorite.
When Jon Stewart's just like, "You all would take your seats now. This will be over quite quickly," and he just goes, "Now sit down," and he just like shoves everybody. It's like Jesus Christ. That's
not something I expect from Jon Stewart.
It's Jon Stewart. It's the Daily Show. Jon Stewart. What's going on here? It's Big Daddy. Jon Stewart. Like what's happening right now? That's great.
So. Yeah, no, this one was great. I can see why you love it, and I'll definitely be rewatching this because I do think it has a high level of rewatchability to
For
it.
sure. Yeah.
So, um, yeah, that was the '90s, the '93 and '98.
Sure
Um,
was.
some good movies, some great movies too, though, with The Fugitive and The Faculty. So
Yeah.
I think we had a good mix here,
Mm-hmm.
and then we'll be back sometime in the future with the 2000s. I'm really excited for these ones. I think these are real four, well, three really good movies, and then a fourth one that I'm going to watch for the first time.
Ah,
So because I haven't
okay.
seen The Hurt Locker yet, which is one of our choices from 2008, along with In Bruges, and then for 2003 we will be covering Big Fish and Too Fast, Too Furious.
Yay! My favorite Fast and Furious movie. Yay! Put some respect on Too Fast, Too Furious. It's great.
It's been a minute since I've rewatched that, so I'm looking forward
I'm
to
telling you
rewatch.
this, Jacob. When you rewatch it, after all the nonsense they've done with all these Fast and Furious movies and how over the top and silly they got and going to space and all these ridiculous set pieces, you're gonna find it really refreshing that it's a very simple story of like Paul Walker and Tyrese just being like working for the cops and just doing undercover work and using their racing skills to get things done, to just help out with an investigation and just using their skills that they actually have as opposed to just being globe-trotting spies to solve a problem. And there's no Vin Diesel and his ego. Like it's just a really breezy, like fun movie. I'm telling you, you're gonna love this rewatch. You're gonna find it really refreshing. I have a feeling because there's a reason why I like it. It's so
Yeah.
simple and it's so fun, and the racing sequences are awesome. And I think you're gonna dig it, man. Like I really like that. But there are some first time watches for me, I will say, and ones I know you're a fan of. I've never seen Big Fish, and so I know you're the Tim Burton guy. Obviously, you love you some
Yeah,
Tim Burton.
I do.
I have never seen it. I have been sitting on this for about 6 months. Got my 4K of Big Fish right here. I've just been waiting to watch it, even though it came up in tournament fights a couple of times. I was like, I know, but we're doing the anniversary thing. I was waiting. I'm sorry. But yeah, I've always wanted to see this one. It comes up in trivia a lot too, so I need to watch it. So
There you
just
go.
because the cast and everything. But yeah, I'm looking forward to that. Yeah, in Bruges, especially with really like Banshees of Inisherin, so I'm looking forward to seeing going back and watching this, Martin McDonough, Colin Farrell, Brendan Gleeson movie. So yeah, their previous movie from, 15 years ago,
Yeah,
before Banshees, and seeing that because they're really clever films. And yeah, I've seen The Hurt Locker before. I might rewatch it. It's been a minute, but yeah, I definitely enjoy that one. That'll be a good discussion too. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
yeah, should be fun. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
Um, so I know you've got something in about an hour, but what else do you have coming up in the near
Oh
future?
man, we got a lot of stuff in the near future. Obviously, we're gearing up for this Senior Herd free for all. It's going to be a big deal. Hopefully, fingers crossed, everything goes off without a hitch. We're looking forward to it. But we put a lot of prep into this, so it's going to be a lot of fun. Sunday night, 8 p.m. Eastern is when the festivities kick off. We've got 27 competitors. Might end up being 25. We always have somebody drop out last minute. We'll see what happens. But yeah, that'll be going on Sunday. As far as the rest of the week. We got another mystery tournament on Tuesday night,
Yeah.
and then I'll be hosting tournament fights next Friday night, the Battle of the Batmen, flying solo because Jordan will be at a wedding. So, and I've got some fun little clips and interludes and stuff planned out for that Batman episode. It's gonna be a lot of
Nice.
fun. I got some good plans for that one. Keep it fun. That'll be a good time. We got Lonely Marks, obviously, like we always do, Jacob. So
Mm-hmm.
we'll be doing a big man Haas draft as per Richie, so that'll be a good
Yeah.
time. And we'll be reviewing a random Raw episode, which I'll warn you right now is a very bad Raw episode from
I
1990.
looked. I
So
looked. I looked it up and I looked at some of the results, and the first two matches
it's
are a
good.
total of 50 seconds.
Well, I went back and I remembered the Brian and Vinny episode where they covered this, and yeah, we sometimes look at rose-colored glasses with the Attitude Era, but there were some very bad television programs around then, and unfortunately, this might be one of them. Yeah, and of course, Malcolm. Yeah, we were getting to that. Yeah, in about an hour, I'll be on Rank and talk to Jack Nicholson with some talkers, but I'm going to tell them straight up: this should not be a 3-hour episode. It's Jack Nicholson. There's some very obvious ones on that top 12, so hopefully it'll go very quickly. On there. I'm wearing one of them. So,
Number 1 or number 2?
It
Right.
might be, yeah, it might be. And I'm wearing one that hopefully will make the top 12. Obviously, it should, pretty easily.
Number 3.
Pretty iconic. Yeah, should be in the top 5. It's great. But yeah, we'll be talking to Jack Nicholson. I very much enjoy that man's acting, and yeah, we'll be doing that very shortly after I go eat some food. So yes,
Yeah.
that'll be fun.
So,
Yeah, lots going on the Movie Hero Network. So tune in and check it all. Let's hit that notification bell so you can follow us, especially if Jacob does random shows talking about his top 25 out of nowhere because he's bored. But that's totally fine. So you do whatever you want.
maybe
Or
I'll
like when,
count down some
or
other
like
things.
when I hop on randomly and just review The Nun 2 and My Big Fat Greek Wedding 3 because I don't see any reviews of them online, and maybe we'll get some views out of it. I don't know. So especially
Yeah.
My Big Fat Greek Wedding 3, which nobody's reviewed online. So I was hoping to get some views out of that one.
Maybe for good reason.
Yeah, exactly. No, there is a good reason for that.
Yeah, so check out all the stuff we have going on over here, and you know, our friends over at Take Three, where we appear a lot as well. So yeah, let us know, what do you think about these 4 movies? Again, it was We're Back, A Dinosaur Story, The Fugitive from 1993, and then from 1998 with The Faculty and Blade. Let us know your thoughts. If you were watching live, thank you. If you're watching on the replay, also thank you. Yeah, catch us next time on a podcast about movies where we will be covering 2000s movies.
The new millennium, the 21st century. We're into the future. Yes.
I'm gonna try to, maybe I should download a clip of a Y2J's countdown.
Oh god, the countdown. Yeah, no, we're past Y2K, which nothing happened.
Yeah,
Everything
right.
just kind of flipped over, and it was a big dud. We just had to make a few minor adjustments on the computer. No big deal. Yeah, the apocalypse. Spoiler alert: the apocalypse did not happen. But I certainly remember a lot of 1999 people freaking out that something was going to happen. And that's a dated thing for sure when you go back and watch it now. Oh my god, Y2K! And it was a big dud. So,
yeah, nothing.
yeah, even some movies in '99 that referenced that, and they were a big dud. We'll talk about one of them. Yeah.
But yeah, so again, thank you guys for watching. That is Austin. I'm Jacob. This has been a podcast about movies, and we will see you next time.